Hello, today we have a discussion on innovation decision process, meaning, stages, concept of dissonance and rejection. Introduction. Coming to introduction. Technology is a systemic knowledge application in a particular area in order to achieve some values. Transfer of technology means movement of information from research, that is the source of innovation, or an innovation system through an extension system which act as interpreter, disseminator and facilitator to the client, those who are the users of technology system. That is the targeted group of farmers who are expected to adopt and integrate the technology into the existing farming system and practices. Besides this, the effectiveness of technology transfer also depends on the support system as well as the socio-economic structure in which other system operates. Now coming to innovation. An innovation is an idea, practice or object that is perceived as new by an individual or other units of adoption. In agriculture, the technologies developed through research are innovations. This may be new varieties of crops and plants, new breeds of livestock, new chemicals and medicines, new techniques of doing things, etc. Farmers themselves may develop some new practice, which are also called innovations. Irrespective of the time period, the idea or practice which was originally developed when a person first become aware of it, it is an innovation to that person. Although several researchers have given their concepts and models, Everett Rogers 2003 is viewed as the pioneer of technology adoption research. The leading and the most influential model, however, is Rogers' diffusion of innovations. According to him, innovation can include tangible, such as new design methodology or pedagogical techniques. Furthermore, the notion of an innovation's newness can be relative to both place and population. A well-established technology, such as the use of antibiotics, may be new in a developing world context, such as some regions of Africa. Email and instant messaging, though well established among different age groups, may be completely new to a group of senior citizens. By defining innovations in this way, Rogers effectively dissolves the barriers between different disciplines and could openly consider adoption studies for multiple fields. Now, coming to attributes of innovation. Perceived attributes of innovation is not the intrinsic quality, but the quality or character of the innovation as people see to them, which is important for extension as innovation has some qualities or characteristics. Some perceived attributes of innovation which are basic to extension are as follows. Number 1, relative advantage. Relative advantage is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as better than the previous idea it supersedes and has a number of dimensions. For example, if a new technology or practice gives more yield or income or saves times and labors and costs or has less risks than the existing one, it has more relative advantage. Multiple use of innovation may be a form of relative advantage. The innovation which has more relative advantage are likely to be adopted quickly. Number 2 point is compatibility. It is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as consistent with the existing values, past experience, and needs of the potential adopters with respect to different dimensions like situational compatibility and cultural compatibility. For example, when a new crop variety suits the agroclimatic condition of a farmer, it indicates the situational compatibility. When a breed of livestock advocated to the farmer is an agreement with their beliefs and values. It is cultural compatibility. Compatibility of an innovation is essential for its adoption. Number 3 point is complexity. Complexity is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as relatively difficult to understand and use. Innovation should be less complex as much as possible for a farmer to understand and use. For example, many improved technology like resource flow in integrated farming system, agroforestry, composite fish culture are less successful for less knowledge of management method. Complex technology often require consistent training and communication support for adoption and continued use. Number 4 point is the triability. It is the degree to which an innovation may be experimented on a limited basis. For example, adoption of new seeds and fertilizers are more as compared to new farm machineries simply because seeds and fertilizers can be purchased in small units and tried, whereas farm machineries require large investment and cannot be tried into different parts. Coming to the 5th point is the observability. Observability is the degree to which the results of innovation are visible to others. For example, adoption of insecticide which immediately kill the insect pests are adopted at higher rates, not considering the health hazards caused by it. Number 6 point is the predictability. Predictability is the degree of certainty for receiving expected benefits from the adoption of an innovation. For example, feeding of poultry birds along with the multivitamins ABDAC gives increase in both quality and quantity of egg production. Now, let's come to the stages of innovation decision process. According to Rogers, the innovation decision process is the process through which an individual or other decision-making unit passes from first knowledge of an innovation to forming an attitude towards the innovation to a decision to adopt or reject to implementation and use of the new idea and to confirmation of this decision. This process consists of a series of actions and choices over time through which an individual or an organization evaluates a new idea and decides whether or not to incorporate the new idea into the ongoing system. The perceived newness of innovation and the uncertainty associated with this newness is a distinctive aspect of innovation decision making. Compared to other types of decision making, which occurs over time and is conceptualized to have 5 stages. The first stage is the knowledge stage. Knowledge stage occurs when an individual or other decision-making unit is exposed to an innovation existence and gains some understanding of how it functions. Questions such as, what is the innovation, how does it work, and why does it work are the main concern of an individual about the innovation. The first of this type of knowledge, awareness knowledge, is the information that an innovation exists. This type of information seeking is concentrated at the knowledge stage, but it may also occur at the perception and decision stages. It is actually possible to adopt an innovation without principal knowledge, but the danger of misusing the new ideas is greater and discontinuance may result. The second stage is the persuasion stage. Persuasion stage occurs when an individual or some other decision-making unit forms a favorable or non-favorable attitude towards the innovation. Persuasion function is mainly affective or related to feeling. At this stage, the individual becomes more psychologically involved with the innovation and actively seeks information about it. The individual perceives the attributes of the innovation, which is conditioned by one's personality and social system norms, and develops a general idea about the innovations. The third stage is the decision stage. Decision stage occurs when an individual or some other decision-making unit engages in an activities that lead to a choice to adopt or reject the innovations. The individual puts the innovation to small-scale trial in their own situation, considering the relative advantage, risks involved, and many other related factors like availability of market, need for the family, etc. The individual takes decision to adopt or reject the innovation. The fourth stage is the implementation stage. Implementation stage occur when an individual or other decision-making unit puts an innovation into use. At this stage, the individual is generally concerned with where to get the innovation, how to use it, and what operational problems will be faced and how this could be solved. It may involve changes in management of the enterprise or modification to suit more closely to the specific needs of the particular person who adopts it. Reinvention often occurs at this implementation stage. It is the degree to which an innovation is changed or modified by a user in the process of its adoption and implementation. Reinvention is often beneficial to the adopters of an innovation. Coming to the fifth stage is the confirmation stage. Confirmation stage occur when an individual or some decision-making unit seeks reinforcement of an innovation decision already been made or reverses a previous decision to adopt or reject the innovation if exposed to conflicting messages about the innovation. The decision to adopt or to reject an innovation is not a terminal act. Human mind is in a dynamic state and an individual constantly evaluates the situation. If the individual perceives that the innovation is consistently giving satisfactory or unsatisfactory results, the person may continue to adopt or reject the innovation as the case may be. Reversal of the decision after adoption or rejection of an innovation may, however, take place at a later stage. In this stage, extension agents have the additional responsibility of providing supporting messages to individuals who have previously adopted. It is often assumed that once adoption is secured, it will continue. But there is no assurance against discontinuance because negative messages about an innovation circulate via personal network in most client systems. Let's discuss the innovation decision period. The innovation decision period is the time elapsing from awareness knowledge of an innovation until the decision to adopt or reject it. This is the gestation period during which a new idea ferments in the mind of an individual. The rate of awareness knowledge for an innovation is more rapid than its rate of adoption. Earlier adopters have a shorter innovation decision period than later adopters. Now, let us discuss the types of innovation decisions. First is the optional innovation decision. Optional innovation decisions are choices to adopt or reject an innovation that are made by an individual independent of the other member of the system. Number 2 is the collective innovation decision. Collective innovation decisions are choices to adopt or reject an innovation that are made by consensus among the members of a system. Usually, all of these units in the system must conform to the system's decision once it is made. Number 3 is the authority innovation decision. Authority innovation decisions are choices to adopt or reject an innovation that are made by a relatively few individuals in a system who possess power, status, or technical expertise. The individual member of the system has little or no influence in decision making. He or she simply implements the decision. For a successful technology transfer program, the extension agents have to plan their communication strategy based on the actual information needs of the client system. Now let us discuss the concept of dissonance and rejection. Dissonance. Human behavior change is often motivated in part by a state of internal disequilibrium or dissonance, that is, an uncomfortable state of mind that an individual seeks to reduce or eliminate. A dissonant individual is motivated to reduce this condition by changing his or her knowledge, attitude, or action. In the case of innovative behavior, this dissonance reduction may occur in different ways. Number 1, when the individual becomes aware of a need and seeks information about an innovation to meet his need. Here, a receiver's knowledge of a need for innovation can motivate the individual's information-seeking activity about the innovations. This behavior occurs at the knowledge stage in the innovation decision process. Number 2, when the individual knows about a new idea and has a favorable attitude towards it but has not adopted, then the individual is motivated to adopt the innovation by dissonance between what he or she believes versus what he or she is actually doing. This behavior occurs at the decision and implementation stage in the innovation decision process. The third point is, after the innovation decision to implement an innovation, when the individual secures further information that persuades him or her that he or she should not have adopted. This type of dissonance may be reduced by discontinuing the innovation. If he or she originally decided to reject the innovation, the individual may become exposed to pro-innovation messages, causing a state of dissonance that can be reduced by adoption of the new idea. These three types of dissonance reduction consist of changing behavior so that attitude and actions are more closely in line. But it is often difficult for the individual to change a prior decision to adopt or reject. Perhaps a considerable cash outlay was involved in adopting the innovation. Therefore, individuals frequently try to avoid becoming dissonant by seeking only information that they will support or confirm a decision already made. During the confirmation stage, the individual wants a supportive message that will prevent dissonance from occurring. Now, let us discuss what rejection is. Rejection is a decision not to adopt an innovation. One way to cope with the inherent uncertainty about an innovation's consequences is to try out the new idea on a partial basis. Most individuals do not adopt an innovation without first trying it on a probationary basis to determine its usefulness in their own situation. This small-scale trial is often an important part of the decision to adopt. Some innovations cannot be divided for trial, and so they must be adopted or rejected. Innovations that can be divided for trial are generally adopted more rapidly. There are two different types of rejection. Number 1 is the active rejection. Active rejection, which consists of considering adoption of the innovation, including its trial, but then deciding not to adopt it. Number 2 is the passive rejection. It is also called non-adoption, which consists of never really considering the use of the innovation. After all the discussion we have been making, we can conclude today's class by focusing on the point that the success of any agricultural program falls in the hand of proper technology transfer with suitable channels of communication. In this unit, we have discussed the process and steps of innovation decision and also what are the conditions on which a technology can be rejected and a process of technology transfer can be a complete failure. Further, the role of an extension agent is very important for adoption and diffusion of an innovation or technology. A few roles may be mentioned in the last hour. Number 1 point is contacting the people as potential adopters of improvements and build a base of trust and rapport with them. Second point is working with them to identify their needs and problems to which the new practices are related. The third point is encouraging interested people to evaluate and try to practice. The fourth point is guiding those who are convinced in adopting the new practices. The fifth point is spreading the technology through other potential adopters. The sixth point is help people to make a review of the improvements adopted and derive satisfaction and gain confidence in them. Last point is support people to set new goals and for future improvement.